Hello and welcome back to the Challenger and Icons interview series, and in this episode I am talking to Alex Center, lead designer at the Coca Cola company. Alex once worked as a designer for the New York Knicks and over the years has been credited with designing significant and global brands such as Smartwater. And for them he's created breakthrough packaging, their marketing campaigns, and he's helped launch innovative new products that have changed the beverage market. This roll call has resulted in him being named as one of the best 200 packaging designers by Lutz's Archive and being noted as a person to watch by GD USA magazine in 2014. Alex is in great demand on the global speaking stage, and we caught up with him live at the Die Summit in Paris, where we were both keynote speakers discussing the future of packaging design. Welcome, Alex, to the interview.
How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. This is embedded within the Emballage and the Die conference, which we've both been speaking at yesterday. So I wanted to start off with some of the things that we were talking about yesterday and that you were talking about yesterday, which is how design is critical to business growth and success. And you've been consistent in saying this in the things that you've said in the past and again yesterday. And I'd like you to expand upon your thinking right now about how design contributes to business success.
Sure. Thank you. Check, check, check. It's working. That's good news. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Hello, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Design is critical to Coca Cola. Over the 10 years that I've been working with the company, we have just expanded and elevated the role of design through every aspect of the business. We have designers that are just shaping the future of all of our brands, and so design has just been infused into every aspect, and it is so much more than packaging. It's our retail experience, it's our web experience, it is how users experience our products, and so from every aspect that has to be designed, and so having design leadership at the top enables us to infuse all of our brands with that thinking and making sure that ultimately we're thinking about our consumers, the people that drink our brands, and the people that love everything about vitamin water. We are constantly thinking about them, and we have been since the beginning. So that hasn't changed. It's just a matter of how we do it and the scale in which we do it with now, which is so much more complex than it ever was before. So to make sense of everything that a consumer sees in the market, it all has to be systemically organized through the power of design. And it's not through the power of traditional business thinking. It's really through the power of design thinking.
Okay, that's great. And I very much believe that 90% of the brand experience these days involves design, which is why I think there is such a seismic shift in, say, for example, the advertising world, which is really understanding that design plays an important part in communicating a brand's presence.
Absolutely.
And yesterday you were talking about very much how not just design thinking and how that can influence brands and organization, but you actually talked about the rise of the role of the chief design officer. And I wondered if you could just talk a little bit about how you think that will happen businesses generally beyond Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I think it was Rebecca who said that the person that makes the decision typically is the highest paid person in the room. And unfortunately, in the past, it hasn't been a person with a great design sense, or hasn't been a designer or someone with a design background. And I think that's dramatically changing, not just at Coca-Cola, but because so many startups and so many companies are being built from designers that have ideas, and that designers can take those ideas to massive places and to create giant businesses like Airbnb and Kickstarter. And so for designers to be in that role, to be thinking about every aspect of a business, and to be thinking about where design is and how do you build a great brand through the power of design, I mean, it is really important that companies that maybe don't have that design DNA in them originally, that they infuse that or bring in people that are ultimately thinking about the experiences of the consumers and the people, because that's how that's how businesses and brands are going to win is through the power of design.
Sure. It's very much a trend that I see happening within the startup community, and you just mentioned a series of brands there which didn't even exist 10 years ago, and now they are kind of, multi-billion-dollar businesses.
Yeah.
And they've designed their success from their very inception.
Yeah. And we look to them for inspiration. I mean, those companies have risen to meteoric rise so quickly, and it's really because they are so connected with the people that are using their products, and they really understand the experience of design. And so just because you have a beverage or a curated hotel experience, it's the same principles of design. It's really trying to build a brand around people and ultimately giving your brand a sense of personality and a purpose.
Personality and purpose were very much central themes to what you said yesterday, and the idea that we're designing the brand experience in totality. I completely agree with that. I want to sort of come back to the theme of this interview series, which is challenges and icons. And Pearlfisher believes that these are the most loved brands. They're the ones which create a special connection, and hopefully you would agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if we think about challenges, like some of these startup brands that we've been talking about are at the cutting edge of culture, and they're defining culture with new exciting responses and people's needs. And we think that iconic brands are more about nurturing what's made things special in the past and carrying that into the future. Do you think that design needs to treat these different types of brands in unique ways?
Absolutely. I think that in my heart, I believe that every challenger brand is aspiring to be an icon, and every icon, in a way, is aspiring to be a challenger brand. So you have to approach both completely differently. Challenger brand is an exciting brand to work on because you're blazing the path forward and you're creating your own lane, and you're really kind of just experimenting and innovating and trying new things. And that ultimately leads to becoming an icon brand, in my opinion. And then you have to change the way that you design. It's really about maintaining that relationship, and it's about kind of continuing to innovate, but also maintaining and being true to the brand that you've created and that feeling and those values that you started with. So that's it's a different kind of type of design, but it's still very much in the DNA of the challenger brand that you started from.
Which is interesting because it's incredible to think that some of the world's most successful brands, and perhaps the ones that are most design-led, have such a challenger spirit. And we were talking about this before we came on air. Yeah. Brands like, obviously there's the obvious ones like Apple, but you mentioned Steelcase and Herman Miller. IKEA would be another one, I guess. And these have a spirit in them which is constantly sort of bringing the new to the market, and yet these are global icons, as you said.
Yeah, and I think that's the exciting part is like we said yesterday, is being able to just quickly innovate and learn and to fail. And so when you're a young challenger brand, failing is encouraged and looked upon as a positive thing, to try to just continue and try to find new ways to express who you are. When you become an icon brand, it's more about taking smarter risks and being but still innovating and still trying to find those ways that you can harness your challenger brand DNA and continue to do what people love about your brand and what people love about who you are, because you don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Play it safe.
And love being the key word in both of these.
Yes.
So, we've established that you clearly think that the challenger spirit can exist within iconic brands. I just want to talk about your personal experience, because you are intrinsically linked to the visual success and the brand identity of Vitamin Water and Smart Water before it was acquired by Coca Cola. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so which is a major accolade, because it was a defining piece of work, and one that we all looked to when it came out, first of all, in the early 90s. I can certainly remember that when Pearlfisher started up, 20 years ago, there was a cool brand that was breaking all the codes of the category, missing all the tricks of the trade, like the drop shadows and the Photoshop tricks, and suddenly it was clean type, a tone of voice and attitude, which kind of set the pace, I think, for the next 2 decades.
Sure.
So congratulations on being involved in that and preserving that. Now that Vitamin Water is part of Coca Cola. So, from a personal point of view, your journey as a designer from being part of a challenger brand into Coca Cola, can you just give us a little bit of an insight as to how that's liberated you, or maybe the opposite?
I think it's helped us in a dramatic way in that our brand we were a small feeling that people had in New York and in LA. We were a design brand that, like you said, it kind of bucked traditional convention of design, and it wasn't drop shadows and bright colors or shadows or things like that. It was really something that stood out, and to be honest, in the beginning, it didn't necessarily resonate with everybody. It wasn't something that immediately people looked at and needed to be a part of. The personality was abrasive, and there were things that we had to continue to grow and to evolve. And so as we started to become a bigger brand in the U.S., the ability to become a global brand was the obvious next frontier. And so Coca Cola has allowed vitamin water to go from a brand that was loved in the design community for its uniqueness in small markets in the U.S. to a global brand that's in every store that I've been to around the globe. And so to be distributed and to have that kind of global presence, to be a part of things like the Olympics, and to be on a global stage from a brand that's built out of a very small office in Whitestone, Queens, is just, to me, it's been an incredible journey, and it's been just amazing to see how people connect with the brand all over, and that same personality and the things that we infused into the brand in the very early days have connected with people all over the globe. And so I think, to me, that's been the best part of the Coca-Cola acquisition, is to see that vitamin water was able to expand and to come into markets that it wasn't the first vitamin water product in a lot of the countries that we were able to expand to. We were the first vitamin water product in the U.S., but the brand personality and the lifestyle and the attitude and all the ethos of the culture that we had built and the brand feeling were able to connect with people. And it didn't matter whether they were from the U.S. or New York or they were designers. They connected with the brand, and that's been the best part of this whole journey.
I think for any designer to see their work successful and then to be nurtured on a broad, broad scale, a global scale, and if Coca-Cola's helped facilitate that is terrific, and that you have managed to protect the DNA of what vitamin water was all about.
Absolutely, I think that's my new job is the guardian of the DNA.
Okay,
I think that's what my new title should be, because you're right, it's about honing and understanding who you are, and then holding on to that as you expand and as you grow from challenger to icon. Yeah. Okay, good.
So you said a lot of things which should be hopefully very inspiring to the designers that are in the audience here today, that design is central to business success, that you're predicting the rise of design at a senior level, the future of potentially the chief design officer, and we're already seeing that role in certain organizations that are design aware. But yesterday you said something which was deeply troubling to me, and you said something like it's in-house is no outhouse, and you predicted the rise of the in-house design team versus external agencies. So predicting the demise of Pearlfisher in that one statement.
I didn't necessarily say Pearlfisher was going out of business. But.
No, but it makes sense with what you're saying that that brands and companies that understand design thinking should embrace that internally. Can you expand a little bit more on your perspective?
Yeah, I think being an in-house designer, obviously, over the years has changed in the way that people perceive the work that we do. I think people saw us as people that were building presentations and expanding the work of design agencies. And I think with the expanding role of design within businesses, that designers are involved in a lot of different projects and a lot of different avenues and disciplines of design from inside. And so being able to be a part of all those things and being in the meetings and really understanding the different facets of how we operate logistically as a business enables us to be really a part of the DNA of our culture, of our design culture, and of our business. And so I think that as design within business expands, the role of the in-house designers, or the designers that are able to influence those businesses and help solve problems from the inside, will just continue to grow. I see bigger teams growing from inside of companies. I already mentioned that there's a number of companies, obviously, that have been started by designers, so they understand the importance that we play within their businesses. And so I think that it's just a natural progression. I think there will always be a place for branding agencies like Pearlfisher. There will always be a need for great thinkers like Jonathan Ford. I think just the role and the way that we collaborate and the way that we work together will change. And I think that it's based on more of a partnership and more of a connection between what you guys do and what we do, because I think the best partnerships that I've had and worked with a ton of great agencies and branding studios is that they fully become intrinsic to the inside of the inner workings of what we do and how we do it. And so when you feel like it's really one cohesive unit that's working on the holistic brand strategy and design, it feels like that is the right kind of balance. And it can't be a serviceman mentality. It can't be a hired gun that comes in and comes out of the business. And it's an evolving relationship, and it's a partnership that I think is really important. But I think what I'm trying to do is champion the fact that being an in-house designer is not necessarily something to be looked down upon, and just because we are working from within businesses, that we're not corporate stiffs. We don't just sit around in meetings all day, and we're really solving problems, and we're really having a major influence. And I think that's a dramatic shift from years past.
Okay, so I think we've established the role of design in business, the shifting nature of the realization that brands that embrace design thinking can be highly successful. You've been very articulate yesterday and today about that. And I think we're all agreeing that when we talk about design, it's not just about graphic designers fiddling away on their computers. It is about design thinking. And that, in my definition, involves people that aren't necessarily trained as graphic designers, but have the ability to organize their thoughts strategically, align that with a brand essence, and make sure that that's a consistent experience, which is what you were talking about yesterday, designing that total experience with purpose and passion to deliver something which is, whether it be physical or online, is connected to the original DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we consider ourselves a lifestyle brand. So we're really thinking about the lifestyle of the people that use our products. And so when it comes to designing for them, we need to be thinking about all the things that they're into, all the passions that they have outside of our product, and really helping to build a holistic brand experience so that when they think of vitamin water, they think of the times and the experiences that they have with vitamin, or maybe it's in the studio making music, or maybe it's when they're skateboarding or things like that. It's really not necessarily just about the product. And I think the brands that I look to for inspiration have really built a culture and a lifestyle around them. Red Bull is the one that we were talking about yesterday. Red Bull is known for performance sports and hang gliding, as it is known for energy drinks. And I think that's a real testament to the work that they've done to build an experience brand, more so than a product brand.
So yesterday there was part of the presentation was about shifting the emphasis from brands saying "buy me" to "live with me," which is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being a lifestyle brand, and very much what this represents. Not just my name on this Coca Cola bottle, but the idea of
look at that!
Oh, isn't that amazing? And you have your name on yours. So personalization is what we're moving on to talk about now. And this is a massively exciting opportunity that in this, this exhibition that we're in today. There are machines which are printing things on a solo basis. And the future opportunities are going to be limitless around personalization. And you've championed that at Coca Cola through the Share a Coke campaign. And I'd like you to just talk about this notion of mass personalization. Do you think this is the single-minded future of packaging and communication design and how brands will connect with consumers?
I think it's absolutely not a trend. I think it's where we're going in the very near future. And I think Share a Coke has blazed the trail for all brands to be thinking about personalization when it comes to packaging. And it doesn't necessarily mean putting my name on a bottle. I think it goes way beyond that. But it is an absolute perfect case study to show and to explain to brands and to businesses that the times are changing and that people are way more connected than they've ever been before through the power of mobile technology. And at the same time, everyone is feeling disconnected and is looking for a way to express themselves as individuals. And so when it comes to the products that we enjoy, we want to feel as like we're individuals. And so Nike ID and a number of companies have started to give consumers the power to create things that are individual and so that they can express themselves through their brands. And it's not the same Coke for Alex and for Jonathan. We have our own Cokes and we will have our own Nike sneakers, and it's not about a product that is the same product in every store. And I think that capability of giving people something to express themselves and to be a part of creating their own personal brand through the lens of our product is where I think in the very near future packaging is going. And I think you already see it with Campbell's and Coke and a lot of other brands that have started to look at how do we champion the spirit of individuality and how do we give people something that they can hold up, take a picture on Instagram and post and experience and share our brand with the people.
And talk about how that moves from packaging to which is the physical, into the sort of the digital.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a natural progression. I think everyone is creating their own personal brand experience online. Shameless plug, my Twitter handle is @thealexcenter. And so everyone is a brand. Everyone expresses themselves through the clothes that they wear, through their style, their personal, what their beliefs are, their personal values, and all of those things make them individual brands. And so you want to have the power to express yourself as an individual. So through technology, we're connecting each other through and understanding the world through the power of design. So we as brands need to be a part of their lifestyle and understand that they have needs and they want to be a part of our brands, but it's on their terms. It's not necessarily in the past where we can have a completely one-way conversation and say, hey, please buy me. It's live with me. How do we be a part of what you're into? You're into action sports, you're into music, you're into science. How do we champion what you're into and make a product that fits into that lifestyle?
Great. Okay, so we're seeing a shift in the way that design is being thought about, the way that brands are using design to communicate an experience and a feeling, an emotion. We're seeing a shift in consumers who are expecting everything to be or demanding or just living their lives around themselves and needing brands to help them express themselves to their full potential.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is very much, I think, a theme that we understand at Pearlfisher. It's something we talk about, and you mentioned it just now. We're living in a very connected world, but the future is kind of ironic because this connection is making us kind of sometimes even more disconnected.
Yes.
And I just wanted to sort of like try and stretch your mind out. A personal view 50 years from now, because in my presentation yesterday I went 100 years out and dared to sort of do the unthinkable. What's your perception of where things may go in the far future, say 50 years from now?
Yeah, no, I love the presentation that you gave yesterday, and I love...
I'm not asking you to say that.
No, I am. You didn't ask me to, but I will. The future forecasting of technology and design is a really tricky business. And I think to be able to look at the culture that we have today and to think back 10 years ago to a world where we didn't have computers in our pockets, we didn't have a means to connect with everyone in the world so quickly, and the way that has changed everything in the past 10 years is incredible, and it's only continuing to grow. It's exponential rate of technology, and the growth of it is outstanding. So I think your quote yesterday was, in the next 100 years, it will continue to grow 20,000 years. And Ray Kurzweil, despite being a crazy person, is someone that I look up to and that I believe to 95% be the best future forecaster that I can look to. And so where does packaging go? It's really where technology goes, and really to see the machines that are in this building and to see the capabilities of human, artificial intelligence. That's where we're going, and we're to be able to put technology not just in our hands but into our bodies. And so I can't even begin to fathom what packaging looks like in a world where we're half robots. So I give all the kudos to you and to some of the speakers yesterday at the Dial-On Summit that could, honestly make bold predictions, and to feel confident that there was going to be some things that I couldn't even fathom thinking about. But graphene is one that stood out to me as a real game changer and a real kind of interesting space, and where we look to, and maybe using that technology and using it for packaging.
Sure. So that's a material revolution, along
Yes.
which is intelligent and has the potential to do all sorts of things which are yet to be created.
Yeah.
So this future world will involve very much design. Just thinking about what you're saying, design and technology and the way that we're living our lifestyles. Everything will sort of work together to kind of work to help optimize the individual lifestyle, I guess, is the way to contextualize that.
I think we're moving from designing individual product systems to, like you said, to mass communication systems. And so how do we fit how do we build a system of product experiences that connect and infiltrate our brands into those systems? I think I look at Apple and the things that they've done around music, where it's like they've built a complete system so that you purchase the song on your phone, and you come home and you listen to it on your computer. And the same way that Nike ID and Nike Fuel have built a system around running, so that it goes from the steps on my Fuel Band to the tracker when I go running. That makes me go to the store, and they know what type of shoe I need, and based on what type of running. So it's really about building product systems, and then how do we infuse technology into those systems so that we can make people's lives better. And that's really the power of design, is enhancing and making people live better lives. Absolutely.
So we're coming to the end now of this interview, and I just wanted to just talk about inspiration.
Yeah.
Two things. What sources of inspiration do you look to when you're designing or creating and thinking about problem solving?
This might be a very controversial answer, but my biggest inspiration is Kanye West. Okay. Kanye West is a musician and a rapper that I greatly admire for his vision of the future, for his vision on branding and his music. And I actually look to him as inspiration. He gives me the kind of jolt in the morning to get up and mess some shit up, and to try to get away with some wild shit, and to really kind of take design forward, and to really challenge the status quo of what people perceive design as, and to perceive designers as, and to make the world a more beautiful place, and also kind of not allow anyone to tell me no. And so that is ultimately why in a weird, twisted fate, I look to a rapper with a ton of self-confidence as inspiration.
Excellent. And maybe that leads into the final question, which is the advice that you'd give to people that are maybe sitting here in the audience or that might view this video later that have creative aspirations for business and brands and design. What advice would you give somebody like that coming from your point of view?
Yeah, I think the advice that I always give to designers is that we are far more than craftsmen. I think people in the past and people still currently look at designers that as people that come into a project and design a nice logo and put a nice stamp on it before it goes out the door. And I think designers, the good ones, use the power of empathy and our creative problem solving to really help change the world. And so if you think about design through that lens, and you think about design as being much more than just logos and fonts and colors, it's really about thinking, and it's really about problem solving, and it's really about helping change the world. And I think that's just a completely different way of thinking about design for most designers. And so I just push them to think about culture, to think ultimately about the people and why they're going to care about our designs, and to not necessarily look to other design as inspiration, but to just look at people, the way they live their lives, the things that they're into, problems that they might have, and then try to go solve them, and to do it in a way that's ultimately has a little bit of personality, and to have fun with it, because ultimately being a designer is the greatest job in the world.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I just want to say, Alex Center, God, the design DNA.
Thank you.
Lead designer at Coca Cola. Thank you very much for being
Thank you,
on
Jonathan.
Challenges and Icons. Thank you.